Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the main event of the evening. Welcome to Garage Build Athlete Podcast 31. How about that for an intro?
Yeah, man. Ramping it up.
I've been practicing.
Ramping that shit up. Can you do it in German?
Yeah, a bit. Herr und Damen, herzlich willkommen to the main event of the evening.
Oh man!
I'll work it out for next time. Then I'll do it in German for next time.
I don't know if it's your mic that's not turned on or what, but I can't hear you.
You're joking me, really? All of that you couldn't hear me?
Oh no, I can't hear you. It's just really quiet.
How about now?
That's better.
How about now?
More better.
How about now? Better. I'm just turning it out basically. What I didn't want to do was shout right down your ear hole with my big intro. Did you hear the big intro okay, or have I got to do it
again? Yeah, I've got that. Don't worry about me, because these come off.
This is everybody else. We'll have to sound check that on the way through. Right?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that and see if so you used to get those little equalizer things on the stereo, didn't you?
Yeah. I had a couple of options for the intro, and then I watched the Bruce Buffer thing and I got really excited. I practiced like 4 times, and I was thinking everybody's probably listening to me doing that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very good.
I like the old "It's Time." Has he got a brother as well? Is it Bruce and someone else?
He does boxing. I think he might be Paul, maybe, but Bruce Buffer is the best one, really, isn't it? The double B.
Coming up next.
Yeah, I wanted to really go mad, but I was thinking, no one's going to really appreciate that if I'm just like, I just watched them and some introductions of him doing introductions for TJ Dillashaw. He goes crazy for TJ Dillashaw for some reason. And then a Dan Hardy one, which is pretty cool. If Dan Hardy's going at the Buffinator.
The thing is, though, if you go all out, it's better. If you start pulling back.
Yeah, but it's only my first go. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking that Mr. Buffer didn't just go like pull the trigger straight away, did he? Had to sort of build into it a bit. So I'm pretty happy for my first go. I thought I was going to forget my lines, so that's okay. Pretty good.
I'm just leaving the intros to you from now on. You're just going to tweak those, refine those, dial them in.
I've got a different one. Whoa, that's loud. I've got a different one in my mind. You can have a go, dude, if you want. You want to do an intro?
I'll just do it on the night. Just make it up.
I'm not about that life.
I know.
Not making it up life.
I know.
That'd just be a mess.
This is why I had some notes. And when I say notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 words.
You want to see my notes?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. That's not from a 13-hour audiobook that you've listened to. That's from a 2-hour podcast that I listened to.
Is it from a 13-hour audiobook that I haven't listened to?
No, that's going to make this quite complicated. But
no, because I haven't got the eye for or the memory for detail. So I'll fill in the blanks and
whatever you fancy.
And then whatever happens. But I'll tell you where I'm up to with old Goggo.
Well, I've got 2 sets of notes. I've got my set of comprehensive notes, and then I've got my overview level notes because I thought this might happen, and I was just going to need some nudges. So tell me where you're at with Goggo.
I've got 3 hours and 41 minutes left. I'm on chapter 8, which is called, and something that I really like, Talent Not Required.
That's good.
Yeah. I changed phones, so I've got a new phone.
Yeah, I saw that pop up on all the accounts. Google Pixel 6. It's logged into your account.
Logging into absolutely everything.
I hope that's well. Otherwise, we're getting hacked.
And so everything transferred across very nicely. So well done, Google. That's gone are the days where you had to spend hours in a phone shop and then days of your life.
Oh God, can you remember?
Copying, the other day I was talking to Mum because she got a new phone, and she wrote down all the telephone numbers from her existing phone onto sheets of A4 paper to then transfer over to her new phone. I said, Mum, you don't have to do that. But she wanted to. She said, it makes me feel better. I was like, okay. So she wanted to.
What was it? Writing practice?
No, it was backup.
Well,
you can appreciate
it's not
backup.
That's silly, I suppose. Because if you accidentally save it all to the phone instead of the SIM or instead of the Google and then smash your phone, but you probably can export that, can you, to somewhere?
I literally plugged my new phone into my old phone and hit go on them. And then it was done. And then you just got to log back into absolutely everything.
Yeah, that's where it goes wrong for me because I can't remember my password.
Well, the good news is that Google knows absolutely every password I've ever had and all my bank details and everything about me. So I just go, take it away, Google. Just go for it. Let's go. You got my life, Google. Just take it. Take what you need. There's not much left to take, to be honest. Not after my bill for the boot repair, which I've also #1 on my list of topics to talk about.
Bill for the boot repair. That sounds good. I haven't managed to trust Google yet with my life data, basically. It's probably got it all anyway.
I'm all in. There's people out there going, I don't want them to know everything about me and they're tracking me. They're not tracking you. They don't care. You're not that interesting. They don't care where you go. They don't care if you go to Poundland and then you go to Pound Stretcher. They don't care, but they do sell you stuff for £1. That's what they're trying to do.
That is right. They will know what to sell you for £1, and they will know the people you're with and what to sell them for £1, and they will look at what you're both doing and try and sell someone else something for £1.
They're just trying to sell you. They're just trying to sell you some stuff that you'll like. And I appreciate that, Google, because I don't want to be watching adverts for stuff I don't like. Give me the stuff I do like.
You remember those days? They were some crappy days. They were when you just got adverts for all sorts of nonsense on there. At least it's Target. At least you're like,
I'm kind of into that.
Yeah, you know what, Google? I was thinking about buying a Lamborghini. So yeah.
Thank you very much for promoting the Lamborghini dealership.
Thanks, mate. Oh yeah, that Panigale, I was actually, I was just considering that. So.
The really clever thing is when it shows you adverts for stuff you haven't even typed into your phone. That's sick.
Because you've talked about it to somebody else, or it's mind controlled.
Yeah, both. I don't know. I'm not a magician.
Well,
wizards
is can be linked to people who you spend time with as well. So it can see where you are and where the people around you are and knows where they go and knows what you do. And then it can suggest things based on those people as well. So then you might mention something to them, for example.
Yeah, it's pretty mad. And it's all about making bank. Like, there's just some guy out there just making serious bank off of all this. This is all about just making money. It's crazy.
Can you imagine?
Absolutely
the amount
crazy
of coin that they're making?
Whew.
Insanity levels of coin.
Yeah, that's super sick.
What amazes me though is did they actually want to do that in the first place? Was this the plan in the first place, or were they just trying to do like MySpace too? Oh, I don't really like that MySpace. It's not. The pictures aren't that good. The people are a bit weird. Let's make Facebook. And they were probably just trying to knock MySpace off, weren't they? And now look what they've done. And where's MySpace now? Is that a thing anymore? No, surely not.
Don't know. It's not even Facebook anymore, is it? It's Meta. Old Zuckerberg has been rebranding. I don't know. It's still called Facebook, I think, but he's making like a little ecosystem, isn't he? Out of all of his stuff, he's got like WhatsApp and Instagram and all that kind of stuff is all going to fall under.
Put it under one big umbrella.
One thing, yeah.
Very nice. Hit me with this boot story then. I thought we were just going to gog it the whole time, but hit me with your boots.
Boot singular. So the boot of my car decided that it's quite a clever boot, actually. If anybody's familiar with the Skoda Superb, the boot has a standard saloon small boot action. So imagine my hands are boot. I mean, it's very clear.
It's quite booty.
Yeah, and it will open up like this. You got to watch, Matt, because otherwise you won't know.
I'm like writing and watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it opens up like that. Yeah, saloon boot.
And then you press, and if you don't want that, if you want a hatchback boot, you press one button, and then you wait for a light to flash, and then you press another button, and then it opens up like this.
Well, I didn't know that.
Which is very handy for car booting. It's not handy when those buttons stop working. And the only way you can open the boot is with the key fob. And all you get is this. And then the boot doesn't secure itself properly. So then you spend, like I like to do, weeks trying to, Google the cheapest option for fixing this boot on various Skoda forums.
I can answer though in the forums, surely.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with cars. And then so I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to take it to the Skoda dealership. They know what's going on. And took it in, had an appointment, went in and said, yeah, it's a bit of electrical issues with the boot, I think. Started when I needed, when it said a light bulb needed replacing. That's my technical expertise. The light bulb needs replacing. And then it wouldn't work from there. He goes, okay, yeah, we'll get it booked in. We'll get it all looked at. It's £91 an hour for diagnostics. I was like, yeah, fine. I mean, I don't know how to diagnose it, so carry on. And they had it for 2 hours.
Okay.
And when they came back, they'd given me, they do this now. They go around your vehicle and they'd give you a little tour of all the expensive shit that they've found that's broken on your car. So my car, luckily for me, they found it, whilst it was dangerously unsafe to drive. So that's good, isn't it? That's a good sales technique, with a big red marks on the on the quote. So
despite the fact that you've been driving it for that amount
and
of
it's
time.
absolutely fine.
It's fine.
So my car going in needed just it's a little bit of electrical work done for the boot buttons. Now needs 2 tires, wheel alignment, a rear suspension coil.
Why did they look at all that?
Because they just do a vehicle health check. Obviously, they're worried about my safety.
Yes. Okay. So you had to pay for that you didn't ask for. That's good.
Yeah. And then they diagnosed the problem was an issue with a wiring loom, but they didn't know if it was one wiring loom or 2 wiring looms. So they need to order in 2 in case it's 2 to go ahead and do the work. And as I sat in the Skoda showroom with my head in my hands looking at this piece of paper with the bill for 850 quid. So I left.
What?
I had to sign.
The bill was 850
for all of the work to be done. The bill would be 850 quid. I had to pay 54 pounds to be given that bill. So that was nice.
So it only took them 30
hour.
minutes
to
find out all these things were wrong.
So I went and did my classic, right, I'm bound to be able to get this elsewhere, put it in my basket, my famous look for a cheaper
but I'd put
option.
that in my basket too, to be fair. That's insane.
And then I went to Halford's Auto Centre, I went to Quick Fit, and they could have done the tyres and the coil, but not the electrical work. So I would have had to have found somebody else to do the electrical work, which I don't know my ass from my elbow with people. And I must have spent, again, another hour and a half, 2 hours trying to figure out okay, I can go here and get the tyres, I can go there and get the coil, I can go here and get the wheel alignment, save myself £10, £15, all this kind of stuff. And then I just gave up.
Surely, dude. Huh?
I just gave up. I just rang up Skoda and just went, what, just do it.
You didn't.
Yeah. Book me in, get it done. Because I never learn my lesson, because I'll put it and I've been stressing about it for weeks already, trying to get somebody to see it, and then I'll be stressing about it trying to get, I don't know the auto electrician guy from anybody. He could be an absolute lunatic. At least, I don't know, 850 quid. Fucking gone. Well, it's not gone yet because I've not done it. The most annoying thing is I am paying out all that money and I'm not getting anything new for it, because I already have a car which already has tires and a boot. I'm just paying that out. It sucks so bad.
It's a bit late now, but I do know a few people in Norfolk in the auto game. We could have probably.
They've not done the work yet. They've got to ring me up and book me in. They've ordered in the
try and find out.
Yeah.
This is the problem, because then they're not going to be able to send them back. Because the other problem is, if they're talking about wiring loom, I hope that doesn't mean they're going to. I assume they can change a small piece of the wiring loom, and that's.
They said it's either one side of the boot or the other side of the boot. One or the other,
they should
or
be able
both.
To, test that instead. Okay,
but they need to open up the whole thing and get into the boot.
Yeah.
So and at the same time as this, I was basically getting bent over in the showroom. There's this little girl running around, spinning around on chairs like an absolute maniac, trying to engage with me. She's going, wee. And I'm like, listen, love, this is not the fucking
Stop
time.
it, you maniac.
This is not time. Oh, God. So
because the other thing that might be useful with that is that it's just a VW underneath. So if there's like a local VW specialist rather than the full-on Skoda garage, because they probably charge twice the money per hour.
I've just resigned myself to paying that. I don't know.
Just get it done, dude. I know the feeling. Yeah.
This is done. I'm putting the trigger on stuff. I went into the phone shop and I was like, oh, do I get the one which is a £5 more than what I'm paying, but it's only a year younger than what I've got? Or do I pay like an extra blah, blah, blah and get the newest one? And I was just like going round and round in circles in my head. I was just like, just fuck it, just get a new one. Just pay the money out. Just get a new one done. Yeah. Just like, then you've got a new one then.
Yep. That's what make the decision. Get it done. Good. Well, that's a bummer though.
Yeah, that sucks.
That is annoying. Because never mind. Don't worry about it. Just get it done.
It's gone. It's gone. The money's gone. It's in my brain. It's gone.
I'm going to get into it. Yep.
Yeah. And now I need to spend that on myself now just to make myself feel better.
Yeah.
I won't, but I should do. Well,
it might. Depends what you buy. Mine
could do, but it won't.
£150. Buy a lot of stuff for that.
Yeah. So on the subject of new phones, you can expect some ridiculously high definition photos coming through on the GarageBand Athlete now, because the camera's like 4 times. Huh? Have
you got a light on behind you?
Yeah, the camera's like 4 times the size.
It looks super bright.
Yeah, there's lamps. There's all sorts of lights. I can never tell which way to. There you go.
Yeah. Can you turn so you're that way, but you're like completely washed out in the back? It's really bright.
That's
right. Oh, that's worse, dude. Go the other way. Go to the woods in the back. That's it. That's nice. Yeah. You shuffle around a bit and then we're sweet. Can you move into the center of the frame?
Yeah, hang on.
There you go.
How's that? You got that nice bin bag in there as well.
That's
for
good.
Aesthetics.
I like that. We can just put a GBA logo over the top of that. That's it. Look at that. That's better. Beautiful. And I can see your t-shirt, your jumper probably as well.
Tell you what, this jumper is very good because I am sweating balls in this jumper right now. It's so hot. It's so hot. I might have to whip it off in a minute. I've got a mustard t-shirt underneath, but I can't guarantee it's not really got pit stains all over it because I'm literally sweating.
Sweating your bejiggers off.
Yeah.
And that's right, because it's really cold.
Yeah. And speaking of sweating balls and being cold and being hot, I've ordered some beanies. Beanies are en route.
Beanies are us.
We're going to have a nice selection of the classic colours, the blacks, the greys, and the greens. But I've also gone for a little soupçon of different colours.
Oh yeah, what is it? A surprise?
Maybe I might want to keep it as a surprise. Stick a post up. But there's only a couple of each, just a little testers.
Oof!
So they're going to be limited
and
edition.
What styles of beanies have we got?
The original, the cuffed ones, just the cuffed ones.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Just went. They're I didn't want to get into any other beanie styles.
We did have quite a stash, didn't we? And I told you I lost my grey one. I went out the other evening just to get some food. Yeah, and I was like, "Where's my beanie? Where's my beanie? Where's my beanie?" We were sitting outside, and had my beanie on. Went inside, took my beanie off. But what I thought, put it on the bench seat next to me. Finished eating all the food. Went outside. I was like, "Beanie's gone. Beanie's gone." So I knew my beanie. I'm looking around. I got all the people from the pub staff and everything. Where's my beanie? Like, oh, what colour? I'm like, grey. Where is it? Oh, it's under the table. If somebody comes with it, then that's my beanie. And went outside, put my hood up because it was cold. I was like, oh, yeah, beanies inside of my head. It's
like looking for your glasses when they're on the head.
Yeah, or looking for your phone when you're talking to someone. Done that before?
No.
Oh, yeah, I can't find my phone.
No, I'm not a maniac.
Done that before. I've done that before. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's okay. That's the boot story. Six out of the 9 words I wrote covered off.
Okay.
This will be a
What was
quick
that?
one.
I hate paying for my boot! Exclamation mark. That's not cool.
Yeah, I've got 3 words left.
What are they then?
They are not very cryptic, but it was a reminder. It was 40%. I'll count that as 1 word. Mid-workout, and I'm counting that as 2 words.
You already did a sneaky post on this, though, didn't you, dude?
I did. Because I was running low on contents. And I was like, oh, it's my turn. It's my turn to post. It's my turn to post.
Oh, that means it's my turn to post today, then, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's always a bit frantic Tuesday.
Yeah, maybe we need to revisit that frequency.
Posting frequency, or
we've been knocking on daily posts.
I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm on it now. I hated doing it before, but
good man.
I like it now. I'm okay. I've got it. I just make sure I film something now. Like you said before, you were saying to me, it's easy. You just film something. You just put something up.
Something you're done. Yeah.
I couldn't get my head around it, and then like now I've managed to get in the groove a little bit. I think it helps because it really annoyed me that other phone wasn't very good at filming.
Mm-hmm.
And then this iPhone that I've got.
I'm hoping this one's going to be good for like editing video and stuff. I've not done too much. I have filmed something that I've done today, but I'll keep that under wraps.
Yes. I don't like the GoPro very much for film. This one, I don't know if it's just this Hero one, but I can't turn it off widescreen, this little bad boy. So it always looks like it's on like a security camera, which is kind of cool, but kind of not. I like it. Yeah. I like people's stuff when you've sort of got the person in the frame training like quite clear and quite large, but you just can't get the right angle with this. No. I mean, it's always like this massive widescreen view. So, but the stuff I've been doing a little bit of conditioning and filming that, and that's come out quite nicely down by the bars again, back down there. That's good. I'm sending it on those.
Yeah.
Keep it to my little plan with this bad boy. So this is feeling pretty good now.
Oh yeah.
Ready to go. Yeah,
unleashed. Nice one.
Feeling good. Yeah, still got this on. Still, that'll be next Wednesday that it officially comes off. But I forgot to put it on today, and I didn't notice that I didn't have it on. So it's pretty cool. But I think it's more a case of keep it on just in case you fall over, or just in case you try and sprint and put your thumb in your pocket.
Through your pocket, yeah. Just in case you try and put your thumb through the fabric of the universe.
Yeah, did a little sprint session the other day with one of the girls from work. That was good. Good sending. Didn't put my thumb back in my pocket, so that was good.
Yeah.
So what's the 40% story then, dude?
So I was doing a workout, which why did I do it? I did it because it had stuff in it which I don't like.
It's good. And that's in the theme of the Goggo.
Yeah, they are front squat based movements. Particularly dumbbells. With a barbell, I'm better because you can sort of compensate. If you've got a weakness, you can compensate better with a barbell than you can a dumbbell. If you've got like your left arm's gangly and your right arm's okay, with dumbbells, your left arm you're in trouble. But with a barbell, you can sort of compensate for it. So it was a workout which was something along the lines of 50 cals on an air bike, and then 40 double dumbbell front squats, 40 cals on an air bike, 30 double dumbbell thrusters, 30 cals on an air bike, 20, this is going to trip me up, 20 squat cleans, double dumbbell squat cleans. They're all double dumbbell. I don't know why I keep saying double dumbbell. I can't even say it anymore. Dumbledore. 20 calories on the air bike. Would I get to 10 clusters, which is a clean into a thruster, so a squat clean and then overhead, and then 10 calories on the air bike, and what was it, 5 clusters? What was the other movement? I can't think, but it was all that kind of stuff. So very, very front squatty, and thrusters in particular, I really don't like at all. And after each of the dumbbell movements was 5 devil press. Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, it went air bike, 10 burpees over a bar, then your dumbbell movement, and then 5 double dumbbell devil press, and then you're back on the air bike. And it was just a big old workout. And devil press are movements which I can do, but with the double dumbbells, it's really hard. So you got 22.5 kilos. It's hard for me. And you're swinging it up over your head, obviously trying to use your hips and stuff. And it was really like grinding me down, these 5 devil press at the end of each movement, because I was gassed from I was trying to go steady on the bike, fast on the burpees, just chip away through the dumbbell movement, and then try and do each of the devil press bits unbroken. Because devil press, it just gets in my head, and I can't hang on to them. I like to put them down, which is what I was trying to avoid. Sorry, whilst I'm doing this, I'm trying to find the actual photo of the workout where it was on there to see if I can remember what it was. I think it's probably a way back. I don't want to mess about too much now. I'm not going to bother. And during these 5 devil press, I really had to shout at myself in my head to make sure that I didn't stop doing it and that I didn't feel shitty doing it, because I can do them, but I'll just feel really shitty and they'll feel really heavy. And I'll be like, oh, I can't do this. Oh, it's too hard. So I'm just like beating myself up in my brain. And because I'd listened to old David Goggins talking about his experience of, you probably only use 40% of what your body is capable of before your brain tells you that you can't do it. And it wants you to stop, because your brain seeks out comfort, and it doesn't want to go through the pain. So it will trick you, and it will say, you can't do this, you need to stop. Whereas if you can push through that, then you can start unlocking the rest of the potential of your body. So he talks about like doing an extra 5% more than you think you can, doing an extra 10% more than you think you can over a period of weeks, and building it up. So so at that time, I was thinking of David Goggins as I was trying to swing these dumbbells up and over my head. And I was shouting to myself in my head, you're not fucking tired. This isn't fucking heavy. Let's fucking go. And that was pretty cool. I got fired up in those sets. And I got so fired up that when I finished the workout, I was shouting that at people who were still going. So I just started shouting at other people. I was going, let's go.
I thought you were saying that you're not fucking tired to everybody else. That would be pretty good.
No, I was saying it to them as well.
Yeah. What do they say? Yeah,
they were blowing out their ass trying to swing dumbbells about. I don't know. They didn't have much to say about it. They didn't look too happy with what was going on, but they finished, and they didn't tell me to F off. So that was good.
Well, I imagine it helps them, because it's not all a mental thing, is it? Like fundamentally, you get tired, don't you? You get tired and you use your energy supply or whatever. But I think he's 100% right that you start to basically like doubt yourself or talk yourself out of wanting to do it, or feeling uncomfortable, and then you just want to stop, don't you, basically? But
it's like warbles.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Warbles are not a difficult movement to do. They're not particularly, you don't need a lot of strength to do a warble. But if you were going to do, 40 of them, they start to hurt. But
yeah, for sure,
you can talk yourself into or out of dropping that ball.
Absolutely can, because his story about that comes from this. I guess you've gone past that bit in the book. The story of the 100-mile race, the first 100-mile race he did when he was trying to qualify for the Badwater. 135.
The Hurt 100, or was that a different one? I can't remember which one.
Yeah, I think it was the Hurt 100, because he called the guy, didn't he? He called the organizer and said, "Oh yeah, I want to enter this Badwater 135." Can't really remember the backstory though of why he wanted to do that. Why did he want to go and enter that Badwater 135? Like, why did he get into ultra running? Because he was squatting in the seals and doing lots of weight training. And then he said he like messed his entire body up doing the 3 hell weeks. And then I suppose this was after the hell weeks, because I've only listened to his podcast, and his podcast is a little bit disjointed. Like, he doesn't really podcast the Joe Rogan podcast.
Why did he want to do that? I know that he did it to raise money for like families of Navy SEALs that have been killed in action.
That's it.
But I don't know why. I can't remember why he chose.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, because it was the guys that the film Lone Survivor was based on.
Yeah. But I know why. Because he didn't think it was even possible, did he? He didn't realize what it was. He thought it was a stage race. So he wanted to raise some money. maybe there was some other motivation behind it, but he thought it was a stage race, this thing where you, with the Badwater 135. And I think he called up to run in the Badwater 135, and he thought it was like a 20-mile sort of section stage race, and you do it over a number of days. And then the organizer said, well, you know, are you an ultra runner? He was like, well, I'm in the Navy SEALs and I've done this and that, and I've done Hell Week 3 times. And the guy's like, I don't care. Are you an ultra runner? He's like, well, no. And he said, well, okay, well, you can't come and run in my race. You've got to qualify for the race. So he went to do this 100-mile race, which is 100 miles in 24 hours, running on a running track. It wasn't it basically? So he's running around that. And that's where this comes from, because he ran, I think it was 70 miles in 17 hours. So then he had 24 hours to do it. But then basically at that point, he thought he was done, which is pretty amazing, though, because he hadn't done any training for that. Basically, I mean, he says he hadn't done any training, but like, fundamentally, he would have been in very good shape when he coming out of the SEALs, even though he says he's only doing weight training and this sort of thing. Like, they do huge rucks, and I imagine their cardio level is really high, isn't it?
He said that he hit an insane leg session with his commanding officer the night before, because he couldn't say no.
It was with the guy, no? Wasn't it with the guy? The organizer of the event?
Not the organizer, no. It was with his his buds, one of the guys who was the chief instructor of buds that he then worked with after, called SBG. He calls him in the book.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, because I thought he was telling the story like it was the guy there, because he was saying he did a lot of weights, the guy who organized it, and they would do the same thing, and then he did it the night before. But I must have misheard it. But yes, and then he does 70 miles in 17 hours, which basically thinks he's completely finished there. And at that point, if you hadn't really trained, then that would actually be way over the 40% number. Like, if you think about it, like, he's done 70 miles in 17 hours, and said he was eating Myoplex.
Yeah, and
he didn't even have any water. Yeah, and Ritz crackers. He was basically completely destroyed. And sat down on the chair, and then I don't know what. I can't remember what happened then when he sat down on the chair. Why did he get back off the chair? And then why did he get back up, though?
To finish the race.
After he shoot himself. Because this is the interesting thing about the whole thing, about his whole, the podcast, and I've listened to a few other ones, is that he doesn't ever actually really explain any sort of process that he goes through in his mind. He just basically says, you have to go and do the hard things to feel uncomfortable. And then basically that builds the ability to go and do more hard things, which, I imagine for people who don't really like doing hard things, would be a difficult thing to get their head around. Like, how does he get to the point where he sat on that chair after 70 miles in 17 hours, completely destroyed, shit himself, probably is literally on death's door. Like, that's way over 40%, isn't it? If you've managed to poo on yourself in a chair and then get up and continue. Like, I don't think people can comprehend that. So that was quite interesting for me. They never really get into that. He doesn't explain any of it. It's just basically like, you've just got to do it.
Yeah, he talks about things that he created, some little processes and some things that he does, like in that race. He then, it was that race or the race after, he then started thinking about the cookies that his mum used to always have, cookies in the jar, even though they had like no money whatsoever. She would always make sure that there was cookies in the jar. And he said, like, he remembers as a kid, like reaching into the cookie jar and pulling out a cookie and like admiring it, loving everything about it, hoping that he'd got the one of his favorites and sitting down and eating this cookie. And he said that if his mum, no matter what they'd gone through, no matter all the hardships they'd been through and however many hours and things that they'd worked, not being able to afford rent, not being able to afford, proper food, all this kind of stuff, but she always made sure that there was like cookies in the jar. That was like a motivating thing for him. And that he would say he would reach into the cookie jar and he would pull out a cookie whenever he needed like an extra bit of motivation to carry on. And he said, because I thought find that stuff. Motivation.
I thought he was talking about the cookies in the cookie jar like they were basically bad things or fuel from somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, if somebody said you can't do it, or somebody said you're not good enough, or these sorts of things. I thought he was talking about the cookie jar like that. But I haven't listened to the actual book. I wanted to listen to the book. I haven't listened to the podcast.
Yeah, it's pretty good because the book, there's a guy who, so the book's laid out. So there's a guy who's reading it, as he's written it, and then throughout the chapters, like maybe halfway through the chapter, at the end of the chapter, he then talks to David about the chapter. So you almost get like insights into what has been written, and you'll get backstory, and you'll get other stories and things behind. So it's a more an in-depth experience compared to just if you just read the book, you wouldn't get the commentary. It's like director's cut commentary.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's quite good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the podcast. I just thought it was really interesting that there isn't really like any, well, he's already doing the thing, isn't he? He's already doing the hard thing when he has to go into the cookie jar. Do you know what I mean? Like, so he's already gone and done that hard thing. But I suppose a hard thing can be scaled for everyone, can't it? So you have to go and start the hard thing, which I think is the part where he started this hard thing was basically after he, because he got kicked out of the military once, didn't he? Then went home, or kicked out or left, then went and did this roach spraying job, then was watching TV, wasn't he, and saw this TV program,
like SAS Who Dares Wins,
Platoon 22 or something like that. Yeah, it was about the Navy SEALs, and he said that he's really good at visualization, and he was imagining what it would feel like to be one of those people and walk across the stage and get your, I don't know what they get, their Navy SEAL
green
badge or
t-shirt,
hat or green beret, or
the trident.
Yep. So he imagined that, and how cool that would feel, how amazing that would feel to be one of those people. And then that kicked him off on this journey, because at that point he was trying to get selected, wasn't he? He had to lose 100 pounds in 3 months or something like that, and then started this weight loss program. But I suppose that can apply to anyone, can't it? Something difficult, they need to have this motivation in the first place. Because I think that's really important as well. Like he's sort of saying at some points in this podcast that he doesn't really get anything out of what he's doing now. He feels like it's his duty to try and help people, and he doesn't even say help people. I have to read my notes. But it's really interesting that Joe Rogan is asking him, like, why is he doing what he's doing now? What do you get out of it? And Joe Rogan's saying no, and Goggins is like, nothing. And he's saying, well, you must get some satisfaction, or you must like to see the people improve themselves. And he was basically saying, no, I don't get anything out of it. It's just my duty. But that to me is a super difficult concept, because if you don't have any, and it's not even motivation, is it, but some sort of satisfaction, or it makes you feel good, then how do you continue to get up every day and do that thing? So there must be something about it that is good for him, mustn't it? Like he feels good, maybe good is the wrong word, but he feels like he's achieving something when he's training, for example, or he's doing these motivational speeches which are helping people, and so on and so on. But it was interesting that he was basically saying nothing. Like he was basically saying he doesn't get anything out, he just has to do it, which was,
I think he's he talks a lot about like winning the morning and doing stuff that nobody else has done. So he's like saying, well, you know, he used to get a sense of achievement from, he would start his job at 7:30, but he would have already got up at 4 a.m, got a workout in, done a run, biked 25 miles to work, then start his work, then eat his lunch around his lunch break whilst he was working, and then go and do another session at lunch, then finish work, then bike the 25 miles home, and then run a marathon and stuff. It's like he wanted to do the stuff that nobody else was willing to do.
That was a really cool quote that he mentioned when he was talking about the SEALs, and was saying that what is cool to do is do uncommon things among common people. Does he talk about that in the book?
Probably. I've got a terrible
and memory. Then when he went into the SEALs, he became an uncommon person by being a SEAL, but then he wanted to do uncommon things among uncommon people, which I thought was pretty cool. So he's doing that basically, like this thing of, he's saying he's cycling to work and doing the marathon and so on and so on. He's trying to elevate past these people as well, which is a pretty challenging thing to do when you think about the level of determination or physical level that these people have got. Pretty impressive that he still wanted to keep pushing past that. It's pretty awesome. That rang a bell with me. It was nice.
Yeah. It links in quite nicely to like building habits and having those, doing the things that you don't want to do, because he talks about, he what's he saying? I'll get this a little bit wrong, but he's not training his body for competitions. He's training his mind for life. Like for whatever circumstance that life will throw at him, he knows that his mind will be able to cope with it because he's done all this really fucking hard stuff. So he thinks, if I can do all this really hard stuff and push past the barriers of what I think a human being is capable of and unlock these new levels of performance and things like that, then whatever life throws at me, I'll be able to deal with.
Yeah.
Because
think
he's put himself through so much pain voluntarily that, you know, there's nothing that he won't be able to overcome. And what I quite like is he keeps coming back to in these stories, he keeps coming back to the questions. Like he's saying those little questions that pop into your brain, like, why am I doing this? Why am I here doing this? I could be at home, I could be on the sofa, I could not be, you know, put myself through all this misery. Why am I doing this? And he never really answers it, but he often says things like, am I about to quit? Like, am I about to give this up? Am I about to get this far and just throw it all away just because, you know, I've just fallen off my bike, or, you know, my shins are broken? And he always says, no, I'm not about to do that. So I think he's just like really holds himself accountable.
Yeah.
Like over anything else, he holds himself. He says, all right, that's something that I'm going to do. And then he figures out a way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. He mentioned in the podcast, this personal sovereignty, which is pretty cool. Like he doesn't care. I think this is quite extreme. I think if you have to actually, and have to is also a bit of an interesting term. Like if you have to exist in normal society, which you don't have to, and he has chosen not to, but he's basically decided that it doesn't matter if people don't like him. It doesn't matter what people think of him. And that one, to be fair, to some extent is okay. He just does whatever he wants. And if they like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. But if you've got to try and exist with other people and you rely on other people to either work with you or live with you, or, you know, you have to work with somebody else, or, you know, this sort of thing, that like super extreme attitude like that can cause you problems. I understand his point though. It was basically like, yeah, he basically is so driven. He mentioned as well, going from motivated to, I think it's motivated to disciplined. I've got it written there somewhere. Motivated to driven to obsessed to unstoppable, which is pretty cool. So he's saying motivation is no use to you really. And I think we know this as well, don't we? Like some days you're motivated, but a lot of days you just go down and do it because you have to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of these, like you go and train because for whatever reason we have to train. But yeah, from driven, so that's where you're going downstairs even if you don't want to go, to obsessed. And like I think we're a bit bad for that, probably. It's bad stroke good. That we do get a bit obsessed with things like, I don't know, you with your 10,000 steps a day, for example, is quite interesting, and that we're quite lucky to be able to switch that on. And that's an interesting one with you with that 10,000 steps a day, because you probably didn't even want to do that, did you? But like for me, when I was training MMA, for example, I really, really wanted to do that. So it was easy for me to go and train every day. And like people were like, what, you're training that much? Because I was training like 3 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week, and diet was on and everything, but I really wanted to do it. So it doesn't feel hard then. So this is the interesting thing for me about him, is that he also says that he hates all the running. Like he hates running, he hates cycling, he hates all these things, which also for me is really difficult to understand, mainly because then I don't think I could do something unless I was interested in progressing at the thing or competing in it, or it was doing something for me, which it is doing something for me, isn't it? The running and so on is helping him be healthy, but there's so many other options there of things to do, isn't there? So if he really hates it, then he really is just super invested in making his mind so mentally strong, because he can do anything that he doesn't like, that he will then be able to do anything you say when he has any problem. And I can believe that, because like when you do, I don't know, if you go and do a marathon or something like that, or when you're training MMA or jiu-jitsu and it is hard and you don't quit, it makes other things seem much easier. You know, like when you're in a situation where you could die or you're in some serious danger. It makes other things seem really normal. It can also make like your day-to-day life seem pretty standard, kind of. And that was the way I felt when we were training a lot, doing the MMA stuff. It was like normal things like playing a game of pool or something like that. I just couldn't get motivated to do it because there's no, and I don't even know if it was risk, but just like the stakes aren't very high. Do you know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter. And I think that's quite interesting as well. Did you feel like that when you were training MMA stuff?
No, I don't think I did. I think, like I say, being obsessive about things, that is quite useful.
Yeah.
Like I say, being able to turn that on is quite useful. Not being able to turn that off is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just wanted to train all the time, and just wanted to get better all the time doing the fight training. I didn't really, I think I was a very different person back then.
Yeah. That started it though for you, probably, didn't it? I think, didn't you think that, because you did quite a lot of stuff, didn't you? You weren't just fighting though. Like, you lost a lot of weight. You got in like mega shape. Then you did it yourself, because you weren't training with anybody, were you? You as well. I don't know. Maybe you didn't really
even have a shed then
at the time. Yeah, you didn't have a shed. You were just training outside. You did what was yours? I don't know what rules. Yours was probably the same rules as mine. Like semi-pro rules. MMA fight with this guy who was training, who was part of a gym, and you didn't even train with anybody. You were doing a bit of jiu-jitsu, no, with Steve. And you weren't even training.
Yeah, bits.
Or you went and trained with some guy kickboxing stuff.
Bits and pieces, yeah, bits and pieces. But it was more about, I just wanted to not. I think I was just training to not get tired, and I got tired straight away. Like my adrenaline just dumped, and I got fucked.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing, isn't it? And we talked a little bit about that at the time, didn't we? That because I went and competed, and we'd competed a lot as well, hadn't we? Or you maybe not as much as me, but when we were doing kickboxing when we were younger, then there was you did one or two, because I did quite a lot of those, so I think I was a bit more used to it. And then we did Thai boxing, didn't we? And there were some just small club fights there, and then I was training with Max, so I knew what would happen, because I was thinking, well, I need to do some other things. And I think I had a couple of fights as well before those fights.
Yeah, you did some body shot stuff, I remember.
Yeah, some amateur stuff. Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about that beforehand. And I was thinking, man, you need to be careful of this adrenaline dump. And when that adrenaline dump hits you, it's insane, because it hit me as well in that fight. But it's just like someone switched you off.
Yeah.
We've diverged completely
from the topic. I have never been that tired.
Yeah.
Physically trying to do anything.
And you can't simulate it though either, really, I don't think. And I imagine after probably tens of fights, maybe it starts to calm down a little bit. But I remember as well, I went to London to watch a friend of mine fight, who, when I was training with Neil, I was training with him. He was a really good friend of mine. And he came out, and he was a little bit on the edge anyway. He was a little bit wired up all the time. And he wanted to fight this guy. Something had happened for some reason. So it wasn't like the traditional sort of martial arts approach of, traditional martial arts approach of like, there's some respect between the two people, and they're going to fight, and we'll see who's got the best skills. And that. Like, he really wanted to fight this guy that he was fighting. And I think they might have fought before, and he got beaten by him. And so this was like the sort of revenge fight sort of thing. And he came out, man. And on the way to the ring, I think he gassed himself out, because he was so hyped up, and the other guy was so calm, because he was really, really good jiu-jitsu guy. This other guy, like a really amazing jiu-jitsu guy, not very good standing up, but amazing jiu-jitsu. And my friend just came out, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on? He was screaming and shouting and jumping, like completely bonkers, because it was a really nice venue, proper cage, all the lights and everything on, like nicer than the one that we fought on. Big crowd in a like massive hotel, proper thing, like a mini UFC. And he just went completely bonkers, man. And he got in there, and you could see he was just knackered as soon as he got in. And then the adrenaline dropped, and he got choked out in like a few minutes, I think. Unbelievable. Because a massive part of it is that mental game, isn't it? But he doesn't really talk about that in any of the podcasts. It's all more about just keep going, isn't it? Not so much about controlling that aspect.
and he builds up his knowledge and experience from doing, like, he does the thing first and then learns the lessons from doing the thing, and then like does the next thing, and then he learns even more lessons. And he said he's like, oh, so I learned so much about myself in that race and things like that. But it was quite interesting because I'm now at the point where he's had heart surgery because they found out he had a hole in his heart since birth.
Yep.
And so he's talking about that, and he was saying that he couldn't control his heart rate at all. Like he'd jump on a bike and 5 minutes in, his heart rate would be 200 beats a minute.
Wow.
And he was used to training at zone 2, which is like I think for him, he says like between 110 and 140. So his cardiovascular fitness was really good. He said his resting heart rate was in the 30s.
Whoa.
Yeah. Which is
what's
like
yours? Do you know?
Really good. I actually did this the other day, and mine's about 46, 48.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's low. Yeah, mine's not much higher, but it is higher. Mine's like 50 something, 50.
Yeah. Which I was really surprised at because I've never really done
super low, man.
I've never really done that. So, I think you only get a certain amount of beats in a lifetime, don't you? So
they say that, but I don't know about that. That's true. But I think the problem is like yours is slow on average and then going like crazy. Training. But I think that type of training, that super intense training, has a massive carryover to just like your normal everyday cardio, isn't it? It's like having a huge engine and being able to go really fast, and then when you're on idle, you're not really doing anything. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I've sort of been working on, just in my head, just trying to figure out what I want to do with my training, because I've not done any of the powerlifting stuff this week or last week. I'm just taking a break. I'm thinking, right, what do I actually want to do? Because I was feeling I wasn't feeling like, I wasn't looking forward to training powerlifting, like not thinking, I was going in there dreading it. And I think, well, that's not really the point in doing it. Like there's not wanting to do it. And then there's, there's dreading doing it. And I'm like, well, I need to actually want to in some way do it. And I wasn't wanting to do it. So I've been doing
this is kind of my point though, about what Goggins is talking about. And so he's basically saying when you get to that point, you should do it. You should go and do it. But I think that's phenomenally difficult, isn't it? If you're in that type of situation where you're actually just thinking like, there is basically nothing that I would like to do less than this. Like, I can understand hard things, like doing hard things, but it's a very different situation where
and the reward
you
isn't there.
Do not want to do it. Yeah. So that's why I can't really get my head around this thing where he's going to run and he's putting all that time into running as well. Because you've only got so much time in your life, haven't you? You've only got so much time. There's lots of hard things you could do, and some hard things could be interesting and some hard things could be difficult. So like, why would you then go and do something that you absolutely hate? Do you know what I mean? Like that is a little bit hard to process for me. Sorry, I'll cut you off.
Yeah, I think that's like, I mean, the book's called Can't Hurt Me, and I think that's what he always talks about callousing his mind. So he's like doing the hard stuff calluses your mind and like creating your
I think it can still be hard and you want to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like that can still, but that makes it that. Yeah, well, this is the bit that I don't get. It's like he's saying he doesn't want to do it. Like, because this is the thing. When people run marathons and stuff like that, it's not enjoyable, is it? When you're doing it, like when you do any of your CrossFit workouts, or whatever, especially one of these long ones when you're going between the rowing and the bike and the ski erg and everything, it's not enjoyable while you're doing it. You don't feel good while you're doing it. Like I don't feel good about it. What I feel good about afterwards is like when you did the 6 WODs in a day or whatever, the feeling is afterwards, isn't it? Like, oh yeah, I did those 6 WODs. I pushed through the whole thing. Not many people would be able to do that. Only 5 people here today did it. And that's the feeling that you get, isn't it? That you've achieved something. But during it, it's not nice at all. I don't even, like if you're going downstairs and squatting, it doesn't feel nice to do, does it? So that was interesting for him to say, like, he hates doing it. Yeah. And then you're just doing it because it's hard. It's got to be some sort of reward afterwards, like you say, like just to feel like you accomplished something. I suppose it's part of that, isn't it? Is that he's actually made the effort to go and do something. Like when he's saying he's going and running a marathon after work and all these things, is the reward for him is feeling like he's better than other people, I suppose. Feeling like no one else will do that. Because I used to think that as well when we very first started training, which when it wasn't really popular at all. I was thinking, well, nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is training like this. No, people can't do it. People can't go in and train every day for 2 hours a day or whatever we were doing at the time. And that was motivating to me at the time, was that.
Yeah.
Just to do that. And now it's motivating to me just to try and be consistent.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been with my training just now. I'm just thinking about what I want to do. Like I did a squat session the other day, and I didn't squat to a bench. And I'm thinking, well, that's what I want to do. Like I don't want to squat to a bench anymore. So I'm going to try building that back up.
Okay.
My shoulder's still messed up, so any overhead pressing stuff it just doesn't feel good. So I'm like, well, if that doesn't feel good, I really need to ease off on that, so it might feel good, because otherwise I just keep hammering it. It's not feeling great.
Keep hammering it. It's not the way forward, probably.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just stuff like that. Like the shoulder impacted the bench as well, and our deadlift's fine. That was getting heavy, and then I get nervous because I've injured myself a couple of times deadlifting. I was thinking, what am I actually trying to do here? Like, yes, it's good to be strong, and it's good to be able to lift that kind of stuff, and yes, it helps me in the CrossFit workouts that I do, because when there's deadlifts involved, I can pretty much knock them out really, really well. But then I was thinking, actually, when was the last time I had a bit of a break from the powerlifting stuff? It's been a while. I wonder what effect that would have if I just eased off on that for a week or 2 weeks and then went back into it.
Dude, to be honest, probably help.
See what happens. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing at the minute. But and then with that, it frees up my brain a little bit, because I was always constantly trying to plan around, okay, I'm going to do overhead press on this day and bench on that day and deadlift on that day. Oh, and I can't squat on that day because then I want to do this workout on this day. So I need to give myself, and it was just a lot of planning and stuff around that. So I just given myself a little bit of a break from that for a bit. But it also then enabled me to think, oh, actually, there's some things that I want to do, which is going to improve my performance in workouts, like being able to do butterfly pull-ups. And actually let me spend a little bit of time, not as much, because I was doing 5, 6, 7 hours worth of powerlifting every week, depending on how long the session was. But yeah, just like chipping away at little goals like that. I'm built up from being able to do 2 butterfly pull-ups probably a month or 2 ago, and I did a set of 17 like this week. Like nice. An unbroken set of 17, like getting my chest to the bar. So there's little stuff like that. I'm thinking, well, actually, that's going to help me out a lot more in workouts, because the people who can do those, they just bang those out, and then they're gone. They're not on to the next thing. I think that's what I want to do. I want to do that.
Yeah,
I want to bang out, get onto that.
You're into a bit of a situation of marginal gains probably with your powerlifting stuff, aren't you? That's the thing. So you can keep chipping away at that, and it's really chipping away, isn't it? Just like chip, really just creeping forwards, or concentrate on some things like that and pick up those skills and really wire those skills in, like the butterfly pull-ups. I mean, double unders you've got, but
the weightlifting stuff as well,
and bar ups, and weightlifting stuff as well.
Really like that.
I think I would think it would be worth for you to just do some, like, concentrate on some hypertrophy stuff. I think that would really help, because like when you're doing those super low reps, like you were saying before, probably the assistance is where you're doing all the work, isn't it? The super low reps don't really get you in it, because you've done those before, haven't you? That low rep work has been done before. It's not anything new for you, is it? But bigger volume of some assistant stuff or some different things maybe could be useful. So we don't really need to talk about that. I was just thinking about what if you did want to go back to the powerlifting again, you're probably worth testing like a proper max again, and then
that was the other option, was to do this week, just to do some 1 rep max stuff, and then start building up from there. Like I say, with the squat, like I know I can squat to a bench for like 150 something, but I don't know what I'd be able to squat to without a bench. So and I need to be able to. I don't need to do anything. I want to be able to squat without a bench there, and I want to be able to feel confident that my back's going to be fine, my lat's going to be fine, my knee's going to be fine. But to get back to there, I need to strip it back and build it up again, and build up.
Well, that way around, or you look at doing some more like isolation type stuff, don't you, and just concentrate on those areas that you know aren't super strong because they've caused you problems before, and really focus on those and take out, because it's really quite focused, all your training, isn't it, on the big movements and just assistance with the big movements. So you could take some of that time and do like specific work for your knee, specific work for your back, and you build up those like the sort of foundations that are causing you the problem, and see where you can go after that. And it gives you a bit of time off as well, off the like big weights and going really heavy all the time, and that feeling of dread. Because I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking that feeling of dread is quite interesting, because actually what should happen is if you hit all the numbers, although you've got this feeling of dread that it's going to be hard, actually each time you should go in and you should be stronger. So you should be able to do it, but it doesn't make the feeling go away. And I had this problem as well. And I was like, well, I don't want to go in there and do this, because some of that juggernaut stuff was got like so much volume and so many sets. I think I don't want to go down there and do it. But actually, once you've done it the previous week, the idea is then that you can do the next week, isn't it? So you'll get stronger and you'll do it. It's just the thought of going down there and doing it.
There's definitely a difference for me these past couple of weeks. This last block, which didn't go too well, like I've done powerlifting pretty much solidly. That same 531 stuff must be for at least 7 or 8 years, like with other bits and pieces, but it's been fairly, at least for the last 5, 6, I've not really wavered from it.
Yeah.
But there's a difference in my brain between I can't be bothered to do it, or I really don't want to do it, and then being worried about doing it. Like I was worrying about doing it, and I'm like thinking that I don't want that. Something's not right. I don't want to go into this and worry about it.
And what were you worried about, do you think?
Getting injured.
Okay, you're actually worried about getting injured. Yeah. Okay.
Because I injured myself with my squatting, that lat, when I pulled my lat, and I've done that 2 or 3 times over the past couple of years, and I'm like, I don't want that. And then with the deadlift, when that starts getting heavy, my piriformis I've hurt a couple of times doing that, and I think I'm right at those same weights where stuff starts to ping off my body. And
I think you're probably a lot more conditioned now though than you were then, though, with the volume. But you do a lot, like for someone who doesn't use any like drugs or anything like that, I think you do a lot of volume. You're probably doing like maybe not pro level volume, but certainly for a normal person, you know, who might go to CrossFit 3 days a week or 5 days a week, whatever. It's like sometimes you're doing that plus all your training on top of it. So it's almost like sort of semi-pro volume with a full work week plus all the other stuff that you're dealing with. So it's
that's the bit I like doing, because I don't think a lot of people are doing it. That's the bit that
for sure.
That's my Goggins stuff. So now that's how I feel. Like I feel different about not doing. Like I feel almost guilty, or like I'm taking the easy way out because I'm just not doing those other sessions. But I do definitely feel like I think I'd be able to go back into it. Like I'm thinking about it now, thinking like I want to do those sessions again. Yeah, like I've had a week and a half off. Yeah,
well, it's great that
I want to do those sessions again.
That Chad Wesley Smith post that I sent to you, and he's basically saying like that's what it should feel like when you're going into a deload week, is you should feel like you don't want to do it, and then once you finish the deload week, you should feel like I want to do this now. But I think the problem for you is, like say, like you just hammering it for so long, and you don't really have a proper deload week, do you? So you're probably always fatigued still. You know, you don't have that like deload feeling where it's like, okay, I'm like itching to go and train. Mm-hmm. Like I had it the other day. I said to you, didn't I, when I was going down the stairs, I was like, I just randomly thought, I really want to train now. I really want to train. And then I sat down and I wrote out all my other stuff, because I'm feeling the same sort of Goggins type thing where, okay, I've hurt my hand, but like I can't just sit here and not do anything, because all the other stuff goes to waste. Do you know what I mean? So I need to like keep doing something, keep moving, keep at least on the ball a little bit, so that when I come back, I haven't got to start all over again as well, like that. I don't want. So yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. You know, the amount you're doing and get away with, and when if you feel now like you want to go back, then that deload week has done the trick now, isn't it? Like you've done enough to feel better. So that's good. That's
like I'm in like super like condition in terms of like body composition Like I think I'm like 7. I weighed myself the other day. I was like 70, just under 79 kilos.
Yeah.
And like my diet is, I haven't had, like I'm having hardly any like snacky stuff and anything like that. And it's just, that's the difference, I think, between like, I feel super good. Like some dude the other day, like in the gym, I took off a sweaty t-shirt and put on a different hoodie, and he saw me take off my t-shirt and he came over and said, "Man, you're looking jacked as fuck." And he fist bumped me, and I'm like, "Yeah, cheers, Max." Yeah, and I said, "Oh, thanks, man. It's low sugar." I said, "It's low sugar."
That's a decent weight for you, though. 79 kilos, because when you were really lean before, you were like 70 kilos.
70, yeah.
So to be lean there with another 9 kilos on, like nearly 40, and without any drugs or anything, is pretty awesome. No? But it's just hammering it over time, isn't it? You think how long you've just been hammering away at it, like hammering away at it non-stop. It's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome, dude. Much more awesome than me hammering away and smashing myself. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the one. It's not all fun and games.
Well, it's not fun and games, is it? No, this is the thing. That's what we've been saying the whole time.
It's never
There's
fun and games.
absolutely nothing fun about this. But there is an element of satisfaction in it when you can get it all right. And like you say as well, when you get your diet right and training is on, and then it starts to snowball a bit, and everything else feels pretty good, then you're really winning, aren't you? But it's like you don't really realize until you manage to get all those pieces of the puzzle together. And then it's like, okay, this is how it's supposed to feel. This is how it's supposed to work. Like we're having a nice run now of training this last couple of weeks, because I've been just conditioning every day, basically. Just been doing either like sprints, plus squats and deadlift. But enough that like I feel like I'm doing something and I'm not hurting my hand. So I'm going to be ready then when I come back to get going again, which is nice. I've been doing Magic 50, and actually all that stuff doesn't feel too bad, the raw stuff. So my conditioning is not miles away. It's not amazing. Like today I did one of the minute drills with burpees and jumping jacks and lunges and mountain climbers and a whole loop of those for 5 rounds, 3 minutes. That was cool. Quite good. Mountain climbers nearly killed me. That was not pleasant. But I did the Goggins thing this morning as well. I was like, "You're really going to stop?" On the first round, I stopped. Yeah. And I was like, "What? Like, come on." Or literally all it is moving your legs backwards and forwards. Like, you're trying to tell me that you can't put your hands on the floor and move your legs backwards and forwards? Yeah. Come on. So on the next ones, I didn't stop. It was good. But I think you need that reminder, though, don't you? You need that reminder. Like I was listening to lots of Andy Frisella stuff for a little while, and like that really helped me just like stay motivated day to day. And I think I need that reminder, because there's no one here. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm on my own in here, and I find it easier if someone else is with me, because when I look at what they do, for example, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to do that. So it makes me do more. Do you know what I mean? But like when I'm here on my own, I'm only like looking at myself. So I don't feel good when I'm not going out and training or whatever. But I find it much harder to like keep that momentum going, rather than like looking at somebody else and thinking, well, I'm going to do more than they're doing, for sure. That's another one of my mental issues.
Yeah, so a few people were saying that workout I very poorly described to you earlier on with the dumbbells. A couple of people said afterwards, like they wouldn't have been able to do that. They would have quit that if they were doing it on their own, like because there's other people around them.
Yeah, for sure.
Kept them going, and I get that, because it, you know, when you're doing it in the garage, and I've done some horrific ones in the garage. I
don't think you'd quit though, would you?
No. But those questions pop up. It's like easily, like I quit in my head so many times, and that's the bit that for sure. That's the bit that I'm pushing out now. That's the bit, like when it goes in there, like I used to always go, why are you doing this? Why don't you just stop? And it would be like, what? And you want to compete at this? You want to like do an actual competition? Are you fucking mental? Like, why would you want to do that? And that's the stuff that goes through my brain. But then now in workouts, I don't get that coming in there anymore, really. Like hardly ever is that coming in there, because I'm focusing on your brain is telling you to stop. Your brain is, he calls it having a governor, like
take the governor off the car.
Yeah, like a restrictor or whatever. I don't know what we call it in Britain.
Yeah, restrictor.
Yeah,
Limiter.
And it's taking that off. And I think that's really good way of looking at it. It's like, it's not, your body isn't ready to die. It's like you can do more.
Yeah,
do more.
Not to die, no, is it? Not to die. But I think as well, some people enjoy that feeling because maybe they understand like what is happening. Like I think I think she really likes
it. She likes it there.
And some people like, but I think you can get used to liking that feeling as well, can't you? Because you associate the feeling with a result. You hate it?
I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. That's awful. That makes me not want to do it. That's like, feeling like that makes me like when you were saying you don't actually enjoy it when you're doing it. That's that feeling that I think of when you say that. Like, I don't like.
But you don't like it when you're doing it and you don't enjoy it, but there is some sort of satisfaction in going through that pain, isn't it? So it's like you do actually like it because you know that afterwards you're gonna like it. And if you quit, this is the other thing that's a big problem.
Oh yeah.
Because if you quit, then what are you going to do? Yeah, that's the thing.
Because you got to start again.
Like the pain of quitting is much, much greater than the pain of continuing, isn't it? That's the thing. Like the actual pain of quitting is zero, isn't it? But the
unless I injured myself, I wouldn't quit a workout. Like if I was just tired or I thought I couldn't do it or something like that, unless I injured myself, like unless I hurt myself, I wouldn't stop doing a workout just because I was like, I can't be bothered.
Well, there's no excuse. Like, why are you there? Like if you do that,
there's a reason that you started it. I also like. There's another thing I'm trying to do, which is if I say I'm breaking up a set of movements, like if you got to do 55 or something, and I'll be doing it in like 10s or 5s or whatever it might be. I'm trying to tell myself, right, go before you're ready, go before you want to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like people count down. Like if they see you resting, they're like, right, back up, get back on it. 3, 2, 1. And I'm thinking that in my head, like go before you're ready to even count. Yeah. Like, because I'm a real bugger for resting too much.
Well, you lose a lot of time in your game. You lose a lot of time there.
So I'm like, pick whatever it is, jump up, pick it up, go down, start whatever it is, go start doing it before you're ready to do it.
Yeah.
And there were so many people on this assault bike one that were just breathing next to the assault bike. Like their next movement was the assault bike.
Just be on the assault bike.
Yeah, you might as well at least sit on the fucking thing and start moving your feet, because then you're going. Then and I was like, get on it, just get on it, start pedaling.
Well, it doesn't actually affect you anymore, does it? Just for whatever reason. And to be honest, for me, it actually makes it worse. So I've been trying to do that with sprinting. Like the first few times I went to do these intervals, I would come around and I'd be gassed so bad, man. I'm just like, wow. And I'm thinking like, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? Like it hurt. It really hurts. I don't want to do it at all. But then when I was getting to the shorter ones, for me, it really helps. Like once I get over halfway, then I'm done basically. If I can get over halfway, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then once I get to the little sprints, then I have to start again. So it's like a 4x800 and then 5x50. So I've done like half my 800s at 2. And then the other 2, I'm on the downhill side, but then I have to start the 50s, and the 50s are only short. But to start off with, I was like walking back, and I get back behind the finish line of the 50 and sort of walk back and forwards, and then get a little bit cool, and then try and start again. And I was really struggling with that. And now I started to think the same thing. I was like, as soon as you get over that finish line, just turn around and
go.
Turn around and just run. And then the faster you turn around and run, the faster this is going to be over. And then that's it. And then, and actually the difference between walking around, it's actually worse. You like walk around behind it and then try and run again. It doesn't make any difference to how tired you are when you're doing a 50. So you might as well just keep hammering.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to do that as well.
That's something that Em said about these, when people were doing wall balls in a class the other day. She was like, you might as well keep going. Like if you drop that ball, as soon as you pick it up again, your heart rate is just going to spike straight away. So you might as well keep going, because don't put it down. But that's easier said than done. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because that feeling of just being so tired that you think you can't move your legs or you can't move your arms or is difficult. And how do you manage that? Do you try and do it more slowly? Because you can't really do the wall ball more slowly, can you? Because you have to explode to move the wall ball, don't you?
So it's that action, I suppose, of being able to move fast enough to get the thing up over the line without being so tired that you're just wasting your energy. So and at some point you would have to stop, wouldn't you? But I think mentally, there's definitely a point where mentally you break probably before physically you really needed to break. But do you think you're feeling better in training now because you're fitter and you don't have that same feeling for what feels like a similar type of effort? Does that make sense? So like now you're able to go for longer, but is it because you're fitter that you don't feel like you did before, or do you still feel the same?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd really like to race myself from like a year ago.
Yeah, I think you smoked yourself, dude.
Yeah, it's why I like doing the same workouts as before.
But as well,
I find it difficult to understand like how does it feel? Because it always feels hard. It never feels any easier. It's only I was doing a workout where it was like clean and press and rope climbs. And I was trying to remember, clean and jerk and rope climbs. And I was trying to remember like, what weight does this weight feel easier? Like, would I have been able to do this how I'm doing it now? Like, is this easier than it was? Am I going as hard as I could? It's really confusing, like, to try and think back.
Yeah, well, I guess it comes back to like speed, doesn't it? Like, I think if you took something like a workout that had a 60 kilo clean and press in it, which now you can do easily, and then you couldn't, for example, you get through that section faster. And like the one you did the other day with the handstand push-ups that before took you 14 minutes and now you do it in 4 minutes. Yeah. That's easier, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like that's easier to do now.
Oh yeah, it would be easier to do that in 14 minutes than 4 minutes for sure. Yeah. So be a lot of tea breaks.
Yeah, you can see what's going on there. But that's a technique thing as well, isn't it? So like the idea of trying to improve these elements which give you a big boost in speed and efficiency also is a good idea. But that's not easy, is it? Because a lot of those things really are technically quite difficult, and you need to be able to persevere to do those. So like you've got double unders, now you're getting the butterfly pull-ups, and that's a different type of skill, and it's a different type of, at least a different type of mindset than just trying to hammer on an assault bike, because that way you can get fit, but trying to learn and break down all the different little bits and pieces of a ring muscle up or something technical is another skill. Again, it's like people get bored of not making the progress on it, which is why that neuroplasticity thing was really interesting, because what you're saying there is you basically have to persevere through the boring bit. And I used that for some slacklining the other day. Like I couldn't even hold the line still first time I did that. And the other day I managed to walk forwards and backwards on a slack line. And I thought, in my life, I'm never going to be able to do that, I thought, because I tried to do it in Spain once. Like I got on it, and this is mental really coming from me, because like I think I've learned quite a lot of things. Do you know what I mean? Like I understand the process of trying to learn something new and going and learning something technical and doing it. And I thought basically like never in my life am I going to be able to do that. Like it is best part of impossible. That is for other people. In Spain, I tried it, and then here the first time I tried it, and I was like, well, this is basically like, you just can't do it. It's like completely insane. Like, have you ever tried it?
I don't think so.
No. Basically, like your leg is completely out of control. So you put your leg on this, what's basically like a ratchet strap, not particularly large. The ones here, but you can get big ones and small ones. And as you put your leg on it, so you're standing next to me, as you put your leg on it, it moves like this. And the more you try and control it, the more it moves. So you have to like put one leg next to it to make it still, and then try and step onto it. But I couldn't do it to save my life last time. Literally impossible. And then this time,
did you video it?
Yep. Good. This time, that's what's going to go up tonight, because it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I thought I'm never going to be able to do this. Basically impossible. So I was trying with the rope, because I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to stand up on it on one leg because my leg's too weak. Blah blah blah. But I just persevered, and like it was pretty amazing, really, because I could feel myself getting better on it. It was really weird. Like when I concentrated and like looked ahead and just tried to find my center, they say, I could feel my balance getting better. Like really, probably the most that I've ever felt an improvement during the process of doing something. It's cool. Really, really crazy. Yeah. And I was trying that, like he was saying, like between 7 and 30 minutes of just failing and failing and failing and failing and failing. go away, come back. And maybe I should have come back a bit sooner, but I did like 2 days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, managed to walk backwards along this thing.
That's awesome.
I was like, this is insane. This is so cool.
And then you'll like get to a point where you just jump up on it and you're like, how was I not
yeah, it's amazing
to fucking do this?
Amazing. Yeah. Well, there were some guys there, and this is the other thing that I miss sometimes, is that when I'm trying to do something like that, like I learned to snowboard by watching people, and I learned a lot of enduro by watching people, and like I learned quite well like that. There was a couple of guys down there, and one of the guys was like, must be 60 at least, and he like just jumped onto the slack line and then was jumping up and down the slack line. And I was like, come on, man. Like, if they can do it, I know he's probably been on the slack line for 30 years.
Yeah.
If they can jump up and down and walk along the slack line, then you can stand still on the slack line. So
yeah.
Persevered and managed to do it. I managed to do the thing where you just put your leg on and stand up and then just balance with one leg. I was pretty pleased with myself.
Yeah,
saying that. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I will persevere with that. Also, I think it's good for my leg, because I know it's a huge difference between left leg and right leg. But actually, my left leg is the worst leg for some reason. And my right leg, I can balance on it really well. Maybe just because it's my right side and being right-handed.
Got all the pins in it.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a bit more stable because of that. Yeah, but my left leg, man, it's all over the place. And I always not overcompensate, but try and balance by putting my right leg behind my left leg for some reason. So I'm trying to fall to the right, but to fix it, I put my right leg behind my left leg. Whereas when I'm doing it with my right leg on, left leg on, right leg on, when I'm doing my right leg on, I can just have my left leg out like a normal balance.
My left leg is my stronger leg, which is my injured knee leg. But I think that's because I lead with that leg to make sure I can do everything. So that would be the leg that I put first to go, right, how does this feel on my shit leg? Mm-hmm. And I go, that's okay. And then I put my right leg on, which is meant to be my good leg. I'm like, oh man.
You're like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That's interesting. Nice. Because when you're doing rehab, or when you're trying to like build one limb, like if you've got a weak arm or a weak leg, what is recommended to do is do the reps with your weak leg, like do 15, and then you just match it with your strong leg. But it's like you're expecting your weak leg to be your strong leg, and it's actually your weak leg. So I haven't really got into that. Yeah.
Step ups and step overs and pistols and all that kind of any single leg stuff. I always start with my left leg and go, right, if it's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong with my left leg. So I better do that one, make sure that one's fine. Yeah. So, but it just feels so much more stable than my right one. I'll stick my right one up and it's like,
it's weird that though, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe I'll try and do some research and find out if there's anything behind that. I'm interested now.
I think it's probably concentrating on it as well. Concentrating on not making the injury worse. Like focusing on what is my left leg doing. So I'm thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And my right leg's just there for the ride.
That's probably the case. Yeah.
The case, Chase.
Because mine, it surprised me how much control I've got in my right leg, considering that is a broken ankle, which doesn't really move. I've also put a handlebar through my thigh at some point. So that's all messed up. Like my thigh is small on that side. And just below my knee, I broke my leg. So that leg is basically like smashed to pieces. And that's the one that's got all the control on the thing. It might be the same, because I'm trying to concentrate on keeping that one going straight and stable. And the other one is just doing whatever it wants. So.
One leg's going like that. And the other one's just like, whisk legs.
But I'm pretty happy with that. So that's cool. And then other conditioning stuff is going pretty well. So I'm just waiting to get this off really now. And then get rolling again, because motorbike season is really over, so it's only snowboard season. But I'll see. Maybe I really would like to just go full chat into some powerlifting stuff and click off some proper numbers, at least just get through like one loop with this juggernaut. I think this is the second time through now that I've got almost to the end of it and then had to stop. That's really annoying.
Yeah, and it's never the juggernaut that's messing you up, it's your other stuff.
No, man, not at all. I felt really good on that, and the first time through as well. This time I'd be tempted to switch back to the powerlifting one and just hit that, and then to be honest, I try and at this point I'd probably just try and go to whatever 200 something deadlift, and I'd really like to do at least like a 180 squat. They're not even big numbers, do you know what I mean? So it should easily be possible to do, and then that really would be enough. That's enough. Like daily use, that would be fine. I think my main problem with all that is eating, like sleeping. I've got under control more or less, but I don't eat enough.
Yeah.
Not good enough of that. That's the next big challenge.
Get it on. Get the old
boy.
Slow cooker out or whatever they have over there. Schnitzel bakers.
Langsam cooker. Apparently there's a mega schnitzel restaurant near somewhere I'm going to go and have a look at tomorrow. I need to not forget that. Best schnitzels in the region, apparently. So,
regional schnitzel restaurant.
Mama Schnitzel. Apparently there's like a grandma that you can hear when you order the schnitzel. The order goes in and then you hear the grandma at the back like whacking the schnitzel,
awesome.
Getting it ready, cool. And it all goes in like buttery schnitzel thing.
Buttery goodness. Right.
A little bit of that.
Let's wrap this extended episode 31 up.
Hit it and quit it. You know what we didn't do though?
Ask people to like and subscribe.
I did my introduction. I didn't ask anyone to like and subscribe. If you've made it this far, I don't know what to tell you. You need to get a job or find a good book to read.
Yeah.
Or something.
But stay tuned next week for what we're going to talk more Goggins, probably a little bit more Goggins, because I like Goggins.
I think we should finish Goggins.
And you're going to find out. Keep an eye on Instagram because you're going to find out the little custom tee I was working on, which you, Matthew, you're going to want one.
Okay.
Because it's awesome. I'm gonna give you a little clue. The color scheme I'm gonna call Urban Tiger.
Oh yes, please.
Yes. So
keep a lookout
for that.
I want it already.
I actually saw. I saw an old school Fireblade the other day, and it just brought back so many memories. It wasn't Urban Tiger though; it was like the blue and red one, which is sweet.
Okay, you know what's blowing up now in the motorcycle industry is all the heritage colours. Like it's coming back.
Oh, cool.
Kawasaki, you remember the ZXR 750s and the green and the white and the blue?
The purple ones.
ZXR 750. Purple one, not yet, but the green, white, and the blue is
there was a red one as well, wasn't there?
There was a red, and they put green, white, and blue on the ZX10 double R's in World Superbike a couple of weekends ago as like a commemoration thing. And they also did a black and red one, which is the colours from the GPZ 900 that was in Top Gun. And Honda now apparently are going to do a 30th anniversary on the new Fireblade with not the Urban Tiger, but the original one, because the Urban Tiger wasn't until 95, 96. It was like the second generation of the Fireblade. But the first one, they did a white and pink and purple one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I think I do.
Pretty sick. And it looks super, super sick on this new Fireblade. Looks really cool. So that'd be cool. And Yamaha have just done some heritage stuff as well. I don't know if you remember the TZRs from back in the day, the blue and yellow, classic Yamaha one. They've just released a model with this blue and yellow classic Yamaha scheme, which is pretty cool.
It's mad how they all have that same idea at the same time, isn't it?
Funny that, isn't it? Yeah. Funny that. I think they all got together and hooked something up. I also managed not to yawn.
You did.
I'm pretty tired.
Yeah, I'm fine. This is the thing. So we went a reasonable hour, but the whole world is an hour out of sync. So it's actually later than it actually is. I know. So I'm looking at myself going, man, I look like shit again, yet again. I have to get some filters on this thing.
Could put
or at least have a shave.
There,
cool. All right, mate.
Good.
Next week, fine tune that intro, get the likers and the subscribers. We got some more subscribers. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being part of.
Got a lot of new followers as well.
Yes.
Did you notice?
I did.
Been sending it on the phone.
You've been engaging well. Well done.
Been on it. I changed my engagement strategy.
Yeah.
That's something we can talk about next time.
Yeah. And we're gonna hopefully, well, I don't know when these beanies are gonna show up, but that'll be a good little post to go up. So if you want a beanie and you're watching this and you've got a slightly cold head, even if like a tepid head, and you just want it a bit warmer.
Yeah, just a little bit more cozy.
Keep an eye on the Instagram for Urban Tiger t-shirts.
Oh, stop it! You're making me excited. Come on, that's going to be amazing.
And limited
Urban Tiger t-shirt. How can I fast forward to next week to find out what this is?
Just knock yourself out.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time.
Time
Cool.
travel.
Let's go.
All right. Catch you later.
See ya.